Well, hi and welcome to this week's video. You probably won't see much progress. I've got planned flyouts at the weekend. I've got a little bit of maintenance I need to do on the Sherwood Cub, and I think I'm running out, or I can't find a piece of material I thought I had, which I'll need to make up some tooling to do the front fairing section. But we'll see how far we get in panel beating it to shape, and hopefully we'll make some progress that way. Anyway, let's see how I get on. Come on then. Let's see if I can explain what I've been up to. Right, I've mounted these bits of ply. This is the first section here is to allow for the thickness of the, as I call it, top plate. And this piece here is just acting as a stop, so I don't end up hammering everything just too far. Well, that's easy to do, but you never know. So that's really that bit sorted out. Then what I've done here, I've this piece of metal, I haven't got really enough metal to make up two full sheets, two full sections. So this is going to be the practice one, see how it goes. And then I've got one here, which hopefully this one should, the full one that all the screws going to go into, that should work just perfectly. These little dents which are in here, which you might be able to see on the camera, I don't know. Minor problem because it's all going to get beaten to death. So I've marked out the area inside inside the top panel, the bit that actually needs to be moved, and I actually don't really want this edge here to move too much, so I'm going to anneal in here so that the metal stretches out. If I went all the way up to here, then it would be like dragging a piece of newspaper down into a hollow and you end up with lots of creases. So from my experience, up to the edges. And this is just a standard Sharpie permanent marker pen, and what I do is I heat it up until the permanent marker pen disappears. That's it. Hey ho, job done. Quench it rapidly in water, and then screw it into the framework and beat it with a big hammer. Simple really, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so with the Sharpie annealing method, where we've got the ink on, it literally just heats it up, and you'll see that the permanent marker will burn off. See the metal flexing as it gets heated up. It's just starting to come up to temperature now. You see the Sharpie permanent marker pen departing from the surface of the metal now. So I'll just go quench that and it'll be ready to use. So there's the annealed piece of metal stuck in here and screwed down, so it's actually got screws going through part of it, because this is not the complete sheet, unlike this one here, which is a complete sheet. So we'll see how this forms. The next bit is to literally stick that on there, like that, stick that, and we'll give that a bit of a battering with a hammer outside, I think. So I've just separated this to see how well it was forming. I had got a stone underneath there which wasn't good, so I beat that. But we're starting to get the shape going around. But you can sort of see it getting the wrinkles in, because on these ones I was anticipating to a degree, but I haven't got the corner points or this edge. So where it hasn't got the screws on the side here, it is wrinkling up a bit. So proof that we can get there, I'm going to anneal the other full sheet and we'll start getting there. This is about half formed, isn't it? Okay. So I don't think my helper quite considers that done. But we'll crack on. It will take about, looking at the way this has gone, it will take about 2 or 3 doses of annealing to allow us to get the stretch that we need in the areas that we want it to be. Right, I'll crack on. So you can see, using a full plate compared to this, we've got far less creasing at the moment, and that's just the first, so same stage as that, the other one. So that's the first anneal beat, which has given us about ½ an inch of depth. So we're going to have to anneal it about at least twice more to get it down to the 1.5 inch stretch, which we're probably going to need to get to. So but it's coming along. We've got shape there anyway. So here we are after the second annealing and beating. You can start to see that the metal here is being stretched in by the way the holes are elongating on the edges there, and at the top you can see that it's drawing it in. Slight wrinkling around the edge here, but that slight wrinkling, it's minor. That's why I'll be able to planish that out. So we're about halfway through. We've got a reasonable depth. It's not quite flat here, it's still a bit wasted in the middle, but we're getting there. Right, re-anneal, go again. Well, as you can see, we're starting to get the shape there. Some slight wrinkles, as I said before, which will be beaten out. Not so bothered about in here if we get any wrinkles, bits and pieces, but it's got the odd marking from where the blocks jumped, because that's all going to be have strips put into it. I've got a little bit of a line there, which is a bit of a worry. I'm hoping that is not a fracture line from the overstretch. We'll find out. So I'll carry on, give it another couple of goes and see what happens. Hopefully we will get some effect, but I think getting pretty much to the limit of stretch I can do. We'll see. Well, here we are. I've got that now over the bottom there, so that is really the sort of stretch I want. It looks reasonably level and even. A little bit of a wibble here, but that will be, I can take that out with planishing on top of the form, and then also while I put it in the groove. So there's nothing there which is bad. It is just starting to show signs that we're getting towards the elastic limit of stretch. It's feeling quite thin now, so if it's gone from 1mm way down. So just finished taking out the rest of these screws. So you can sort of see how much it's actually pulled down in between the sides there, and how much all these are slotted now, because it's pulled the metal down into there. and all this sort of stretching. You might just sort of see like a slight crease line there. That's where the blocks jumps a bit. It's also slightly replicated on the outside there, which I think is just sort of showing that elastic limit. And that'll planish nicely. And I've got to get this to curve that way. I've trimmed the edges down to a reasonable sort of distance, well I think a reasonable distance. At the moment I'm just forming a curve this way and slightly this way for it to fit onto the cowl itself. I've been just beating out some of the slight wrinkles on the side, so I'll just carry on doing a bit of that. So here you go, you can watch some tapping and knocking. Well, there we have it. It's starting to match the profile of the aircraft. You've just seen a bit of time lapse of me going backwards and forwards about 3 times, but yeah, I've been at it for the last 3/4 of an hour or so. I've now got something which I could screw and it would conform quite nicely to the cowl. So we're getting there. So the next stage really going forward would be I'll do the final trim around the edge of this, but I'll start getting the plug sorted out to put in my sections going across. We'll see how we get on with that. So I've cut the centre out of the buck now, and I've rounded the edges of these bits. I'm just going to find a piece of bar that I can recess into each of these areas here in turn. Then what I can do is I can put this into place. I can mark the centre line between the bar and the edge in each area, and what I'll do is I'll cut a slot using a Dremel cutting disc, and I'll just drill a hole in the corner of it, and then I'll form the whole thing around the edge and the slot. And that'll create a little piece of strip going across in each place. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. Okay, I've drilled holes. Got that one slightly in the wrong place, I don't know how, but there we go. And deburred them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting slots, and the way I cut the slots is I use a Dremel to get a slot wide enough to then put a fine hacksaw blade in, just a blade, and I cut across the rest of the way with a hacksaw blade. It's not fair on a Dremel, it's a lot of hard work for it to try and cut right the way across. So I'll do that, and then I've got This is a piece of bar stock that I had, which already had a hole in the end. I've just turned this on a little bit of bar that I had floating around, which sort of sits in there, and this will go into the hole. Once the slot's been done, don't hit that with a hammer, and that'll produce like a dimple. It'll produce the start of the slot, one might say, at each end, and I might even use that going down in a couple of places in between, just to help get things rounded over. So once I have the bar in position there, it'll automatically grip the bar on either side, and then I can batter in the slots. Now the trouble is I haven't got, well, I thought I had to make up the tool for battering in that slot, so it could be a little bit more awkward. What I'd like to have is a piece of nylon with a hole drilled in it, and then slotted out, so I can go over the top of this, slightly narrower on one side than the other. I can go dunk 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 and just beat the metal around it. I thought I had a lump of nylon for that, and I haven't, so it'll probably hold me up for a few more days, but I get the slots and bits done, and I can go around doing the edges. Well, you've seen me cut a couple of the slots now in the little bit of speed footage there, and you've seen me cut some of the slots using the Dremel. I don't know if you noticed with the time lapse side of it, whether or not you did, I don't know. When I cut a slot, halfway through cutting the slot, I'd stop actually cutting and have the Dremel still running, and then carry on cutting, because my little Dremel gets quite hot when it's trying to cut aluminium. The cutting discs, this type of reinforced cutting disc, just it cuts aluminium and it stays free from picking it up and getting aluminium stuck around the edge, but it doesn't cut it very fast and seems to use a lot of power on the poor old Dremel. So I can actually feel the heat coming out from the air vents where they're blowing onto my hand. It gets a bit hot, so when it starts to feel a bit on the hot side, I just let the Dremel run free, so it actually just getting air going around helps to cool it back down. Once I'm getting cool air again, I went again. So otherwise you can just burn the Dremels out quite quickly, or any of those sort of those tools. And then I'm using just standard hacksaw, 24 teeth per inch for this material, and I'm using it backwards, one might say, with the teeth pointing back towards me, because haven't got a frame. If you use it the other way, it'll kink and bend and it'll do all sorts of strange things. Sometimes I'll wrap tape around them, but this is not a brand new blade. I don't really want to do that. I'm just going to carry on cutting these slots, and you'll see the end result, no doubt. Well, there we have it, with all the slots cut, so we're ready to go. I haven't deburred them or anything like that, because I don't really need to at this stage. Once these are folded over the bars in the forming process, I may trim them down to, because they'll probably just wrap around the bar too far. I'll trim those down with the angle grinder and a sanding disc. But at the moment it'll do as it is. Now the next stage is quite literally getting these sections dimpled in. I'll actually start in the middle on this one. So like that, that's a start for each of these slots. So do that all the way around here. Yeah, it'll fit quite nicely on there, I think. So yeah, we're getting there. We're slowly getting there on that. Some things have held me up a bit this week. I did some flying at the beginning of the week, or the weekend, which is the beginning of my video week for you guys and girls. So unfortunately it wasn't really worth putting up for you to look at. It was just a local flight, and although it was fun, I didn't really see anything that I particularly thought was videoable, worthy to edit, because that would take me away more from the work that I'm doing on the aircraft. And I've been doing a good chunk of work planning bits and pieces for work as well, doing a bit of research and stuff to see if we can do a couple more modifications I'd like to get sorted out on the work aircraft. Right then, well, that's the outro, I suppose, and hopefully see you in the next video. We might have that fairing finished off, I hope so. Hopefully the nylon will have turned up for that. If not, I will crack on with some other bits and pieces. I've got the metal has arrived for me to start making up the oil cooler side of ducting. So if we can't carry on with the cowl, I will take the cowl sections off and start working on that, or possibly start looking at what we can do to lay up the lip on the underside. I don't know, but she's not looking too scabby, I suppose, at the moment still. Anyway, bye for now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.